My name is Tonda Taylor, and I am the founder of Time Out Youth in 1991 when I was 50 years old. um, so it's an honor to be here on the 35th anniversary. I was raised in a family in Charlotte. My father was an allergy specialist. My mother was a nurse, but doctors' wives did not work then, so my mother didn't work. And I was the oldest of 4 of the children in our family. So we lived in Eastover and Myers Park. I'd had a very rough time, and I went to college up in Meadville, Pennsylvania. And choosing the college, I took my circumference of my geometry class and did a 600-mile radius to choose a college, to be too far for my father to come and be negative. And by my sophomore year, I was pretty certain I was lesbian. Well, I came back to Charlotte because my youngest brother had gotten leukemia, had tumors. He was going to NIH. My mother and father called me and said, "Can you come stay at Sam's nursery?" My brother owned a nursery. "Stay out there, help keep the business going while Sam is in recovery." And I was in between jobs. I said, "Okay, I'm coming." I then went to work at Charter Pine Psychiatric Hospital, and I was on the triage team there. They had a large adolescent unit, and I knew a number of those kids that were sent there. They were sent there to be fixed because they were gay. Our staff would have no part of that. But when they got their act together again, the eating disorder ended, the self-destructiveness, and they had it out, where were they going to go? So one of our staff members, a woman, approached me after my second year there, and she said, "Tonda, my daughter is driving a carpool, and in the carpool are 2 young women. They are a couple, and they are having a frightening time, and they know that your mother is bisexual. Can we talk with her?" She said, "Tonda, what am I going to tell them? There's nowhere to go." And it was that that made me realize it was time. And Sam had died the year before, not from leukemia, but he'd gotten AIDS from blood transfusions at NIH. Sam died, left me some, and my mother and my other brother and sister some small inheritance. So I quit my job, and for the next 3 years, I worked without a salary. In 1991, a phone number went out, probably in January that year, saying a new organization is being formed. Here's the office phone number. The office phone number was our living room in our home. And I began to get phone calls immediately, mostly at night after the parents had gone to bed. And I remember one of the first ones. It was 11 o'clock at night. I answered the phone, and this young man was crying. He said, "My father's a doctor. I'm in a motel. My parents are going to send me out west to be fixed." He said, "I'm so frightened." And I told him I'd find a way to stay in touch. When I hung up, I just started crying. I felt so helpless, to do anything. But the phone calls were frequent. I mean, I knew immediately, first or second month, that there was a tremendous need. So the 2 young women who'd been in the carpool, they invited 2 of their gay male friends. We had a meeting in February, and we said, what do you most want to see happen? What do you most need? And they said, we want a safe place to meet each other. And that's what happened. So we decided, okay, we're going to have a weekly support group. The Unitarian Church minister agreed to have it there every Monday night. Not only did we have an amazing board of directors, but more than anything else, I don't think Time Out would have survived if we hadn't had the bravest young people who came to attend and to lead Time Out. Without them, it would not have happened. I had tremendous admiration and appreciation of them. Those early years were tough. Just briefly, fundraising was very, very tough. I didn't know to select a board that I deliberately would look for people who could raise big money. It didn't occur to me. I was just looking for people who would be supportive and be out enough. Fundraising was very tough. There were very few scholarships out there or anybody granting to gay youth organizations. And years later, one of the gay men in the Charlotte community said, Tonda, we didn't donate in the beginning because we were afraid these kids were going to out all of us. That was a big hesitation. One of the most exciting was when the Children's Theater had their annual contest of inviting the kids who were members of the Children's Theater, write a play, one act, and see if you can win. So they had 6 winners that year. One was a youth leader in Time Out. She was one of the winners. Her play was supposed to be, we heard, one of the best. And of the 6, her play was the only one not allowed to be read and shared because she had two characters, both turned out to be 2 young women who meet on a bus and become involved with each other. So when our board heard about this, they were so upset, as was I and our staff. We decided we had to protest. So we rented the space at the Great Ed Seller Center, advertised that we were going to give this Samantha Geller a chance to have her play presented. We had a sellout. I mean, people were hanging from the rafters. And the artistic director at the Children's Theater came and witnessed and talked afterwards. And we had actor and actresses who came to be in the play. Anyway, it was a beautifully written, sensitively. Samantha was 16. It was amazing. And then the publicity that came from that, it was in the Wall Street Journal, it was in New York Times, the New Yorker. Samantha was invited to go to New York to be commended and comforted by the actors and actress community in New York, because they were very upset with what had happened. Well, as an activist, I encourage activism. I would encourage them to do everything they can to prevent and object to book banning. I went through grammar school and high school never reading a single book about homosexuality. It wasn't there. They were banned. And then I went to a Quaker meeting, found a pamphlet produced by the Quakers that said homosexuality is no more immoral than being left-handed. And I thought, oh my gosh, of course. So fight the book banning and know that you're beautiful in who you are. Um, you're as beautiful as anyone else. And I think we're all in, especially this generation of youth. You're in for another fight with the far right becoming more powerful, with the president so biased. Support each other and get ready for another good fight, and we'll all be in with you.